Thank you, Mr. Chair, Professor S. D. Muni. Pleasure to be here in IDSA. First of all, I would like to thank Deputy Director General, Major General Alok Dev, retired, Dr. Ashok, Dr. Nehar, and other team, IDSA team. I'm a military officer, so whatever I'm going to present, it is going to be through practitioner's point of view, not as academic or policymaker's perspective. I'm going to make 5 points here. Those are shown there. Disaster has been one of the frequent challenges facing Nepal. Nepal is 20th most disaster-prone country in the world. More than 80% of the total population of Nepal is at risk from natural hazards such as floods, landslides, fire, earthquakes, and so on. Nepal also lies in a seismically active zone with a high probability for massive earthquakes. The devastating earthquake of April 25, 2015, with 7.6 Richter scale, struck Nepal with epicenter at Barpak of Gorkha district. It had hugely affected 13 other districts around it. This was followed by 4 aftershocks of greater than 6 Richter scale and over 476 aftershocks of greater than 4.0 magnitude. The aftershocks persisted for over a year, made a huge psychological impact and uncertainty among the populace. The earthquake had left with over 8,970 people dead, 195 missing, 22,300 injured, and over 8 lakh houses and heritage sites were destroyed or damaged. Almost 1/3 of the total population was impacted, and same proportion of GDP was lost. Devastating earthquake of 2015 was comparable to Nepal's Great Earthquake of 1934. Tarai flood of August 2017 severely affected 18 Tarai districts and affected 35 other districts in the plain. It inundated 80% of the plain land in Tarai. A huge landslide occurred on 2nd August 2014 at Jure of Sindhupalchok district, which blocked the river, Sunkosi River, making a lake of 3 kilometers long and 300 to 350 meters width. It killed 156 and displacing over 436 people. Combination of factors like extreme and fragile terrain condition, weak infrastructure, lack of preparedness and appropriate response capacity, and low level of people's awareness work as a effect multiplier. Therefore, disaster poses a multiple threats to human security, aspects such as shelter, food, water, livelihood, and health. Despite army itself had hugely suffered, it quickly acted as an effective responder to every affected towns and villages of all 14 districts devastated by the earthquake. Army's response in particular was well appreciated by Nepalese people and the international community. This reinvigorated image of the army, partly lost during a counter-insurgency campaign, followed by equally long period of transition in which the army was kept under comprehensive peace agreement and United Nations mission in Nepal's scrutiny. I would say it was a big comeback for the army. The devastating earthquake brought the long-time divided political parties together and compelled them to promulgate new constitution without further delay, as they could not continue disagreeing on vital national issues while the people were suffering. Security forces' tasks were multifold. It managed its responses ranging from search, rescue, relief, and recovery to managing incoming foreign assistance at the international airport, transportation and distribution of relief material to the affected areas, and construction of temporary shelters. Nepalese Army led multinational military coordination center which managed massive incoming international assistance in short period of time at Tribhuvan International Airport, Kathmandu. These are some of the phases. You can see the security forces conducted its SAR operations. While it was doing SAR operations side by side, it has also helped people to construct temporary shelters, as tents were not available to all needy people. Response of the government unfolded with an immediate mobilization of SAR teams from Nepalese security agencies, followed by holding of Central Natural Disaster Relief Committee meeting and the cabinet meeting. The cabinet meeting declared a state of emergency and made an official appeal for international assistance. Central command post was established in Ministry of Home Affairs with representation from all required departments and agencies. A special power was given to the chief district officers to handle basic utility services and to make search, rescue and relief operations effective. Nepalese Army troops, including those located away from the affected districts, were also sent to all IDSAs and municipalities across 14 most affected districts. Multinational military response. Response of the international community was quite encouraging. The multinational military assistance played a crucial role in the overall rescue and relief efforts, particularly in the field of search and rescue, medical treatment, and delivery of relief supplies by helicopters. Altogether, 4 international rescue and relief teams, 18 militaries and 16 non-militaries from different friendly countries joined Nepal's search, rescue, recovery and relief efforts. The first foreign civil defense assistance arrived in Nepal was the rescue team from National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, India. Some international SAR teams arrived late, even after SAR operations phase was over. Lack of well-defined code of conduct of multinational rescue and relief teams created some misunderstanding at times. Lack of real-time information about the field situation delayed in decision-making for deployment of international teams. The multinational military rescue and relief forces rescued 19 trapped victims. They also managed to recover dead bodies. They transported wounded people from remote areas to safer places and hospitals. Those data you can see on the slides. Air assets played a crucial role in evacuation of the casualties and distribution of relief material. Altogether, 7,762 people were rescued by helicopters and 4,689 were rescued by land transportation, and 1,116 tons of relief material were airlifted to the very remote mountainous areas. The government of Nepal is recently developing the National Disaster Risk Reduction Policy and Strategic Action Plan 2017 to 2030. This will serve as a road map to guide future course of action till 2030. Regional framework. Okay, we have now, after promulgation of Constitution has mentioned some provision regarding disaster risk mitigation. After that, in 2017, we had promulgated Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act, followed by Disaster Risk Reduction Action Plan 2018, and there are also some committees and councils formed at 3 tiers of the government. Regional framework. Nepal is part of SAARC and BIMSTEC disaster framework management framework. There is a memorandum of association among BIMSTEC member countries concerning establishment of BIMSTEC Center for Weather and Climate, Environment and Disaster Management is the 9th priority sector among 14 various sectors. India is the lead country in this particular sector. 4th BIMSTEC Summit held in Kathmandu in August 2018 declared for closer cooperation in disaster management through sharing of information and decided to establish an intergovernmental expert group to develop a plan of action to improve preparedness and coordination for responding to natural disasters in Bay of Bengal region. SARC comprehensive framework on disaster management with action plan covers the period 26 to 2015. Since 2016, no successor framework has been put in place. Lack of effective regional mechanism for disaster risk mitigation and response is a reality in South Asia. Nepal has not formally engaged in any bilateral mechanism with any country on disaster management. Generating regional consensus on non-traditional security sector like disaster management has not been so easy task among member states of South Asia region. However, establishment of effective framework mechanism on disaster risk mitigation and response could generate confidence for further cooperation in various other sectors. Now I am going to talk about takeaways from mega disaster, like last devastating earthquake. Lesson learned from devastating earthquake of 2015 is an eye-opener for Nepal and countries of the region as well to cope with large-scale natural disasters under difficult circumstances. For a country like Nepal, effective response to any mega disaster entails mobilization of all instruments of national power, including support from friends and allies. Quick assistance delivered by friendly countries, international agencies and organizations, and social volunteers with their rescue teams and relief materials during 2015's mega earthquake filled government of Nepal's capability gap. In a nutshell, multinational response was swift and effective. Some ACR contributing countries seemed at times unwilling to work under host countries' chain of command system. Many international teams were hesitant to go to remote areas due to their own limitations. Quick assessment of disaster situation is very important in such a mega disasters. It took many days to acquire real data concerning extent of death, injury, destruction, damage, and people's immediate need. Damage caused to roads and lack of adequate air assets in the beginning delayed the SAR operations. Infrastructure and capacity development. Most of the hospitals in earthquake-affected districts were damaged or destroyed and manned in the tents. Now, earthquake-resistant hospitals are being built. Air ambulance, heli ambulance, and vehicle ambulance capacity with medics need to be maintained to quickly evacuate casualties from remote areas. Only international airport in Kathmandu with limited capacity to handle the aircrafts made the situation chaotic in the beginning. Nepal needs to speed up its efforts to enhance the capacity of Tribhuvan International Airport and the construction of second international airport before next mega disaster happened. Every rural municipalities across the country needs to have at least one centrally located all-weather helipad for smooth conduct of rescue and relief operations. The very first thing, survivors immediately look for open space after earthquake and elevated space during the flood situation for their safety. Kathmandu, district capitals, and bazaars in hilly areas lack adequate open space. Future cities, towns, and villages need to have adequate open space close to their community. Creating and equipping SAR teams with modern equipment and their training is vital. Nepal established 2 disaster management battalions and disaster management school after the earthquake with adequate equipment. Engineer battalions are now equipped with heavy engineering equipment for road opening and debris removal. Repositioning of better equipped and skilled troops in the provinces has completed. Number of helicopters has increased. Nepal Police and Armed Police Force have also enhanced their capability. Regional mechanism. South Asian nations need to cooperate and create an effective mechanism to respond to common threats of disasters. All South Asian states need to enhance capacity of the security forces rescue teams and create civilian volunteer rescue teams ready for future. We need to enable community to work as a first responder for their own community as they are rightly situated for immediate response. Disaster preparedness requires maintenance of certain level of relief materials reserved such as tent, food, medicine, water, blanket at all times. Nepal needs to be self-reliant for a stipulated time period and reduce dependency by enhancing own capacity. Reconstruction works have been very slow 42 months have passed since the devastating earthquake of April 2015, and many people whose houses were collapsed are still living in makeshift shacks. Is there, in 3 years after earthquake, as of April 2018, only 16% of pledged assistance by donor countries have been disbursed. Any mega disasters would have a direct bearing with the national security of a country. 2015's great earthquake definitely made multidimensional impact, including on non-traditional security and internal migration is one of them. The first step of the government is to call emergency national security meeting, discuss entire gamut of the situation and promulgate appropriate strategy as such situation is directly related with national security issues. Mega disasters provide a chance for domestic actors, neighbors, and international community to join hands and show their unity of strength. After 2015 earthquake, people living in unaffected part of the country provided huge assistance to the people of affected districts. People of Tarai supported during the earthquake in the hills, and people of hills supported during Tarai flood. Non-resident Nepali living in various parts of the world also returned to home with assistance. Disaster provided a chance for development and transform Nepalese society to a disaster resilient. Now, earthquake resistant houses are being built not only in earthquake affected areas but also in other parts of the country. Therefore, cement, bricks, and iron industries are growing and jobs have been created. Volunteer youth mobilization in collecting and distributing relief material and building temporary homes and schools was very encouraging. To wrap up, I would like to say that disaster comes with opportunity. So if we capture that opportunity, I think country affected by mega disasters and any other disasters would move forward with people's expectations fulfilled. Thank you very much.